Right then, hello everybody. Thanks for joining me down here in sunny Cornwall. Stunning day today. Today, what I thought we'd do is take a look at the terminating the green manures that I grew in some of the beds in the tunnel over winter to help improve the soil, improve the structure, feed the soil a little bit with the roots going down and all the rest of it. And we'll be terminating them two different ways and have a little look around the polytunnel as well, see what I've got going on. So if that's of any interest to you, follow me. We'll go and do some stuff. Right, well, for the green manures, I tried 4 different combinations in the 4 beds going up the tunnel. And the first one here, it came in the packet as a winter mix, and they were winter tares and ryegrass. And along with that, I also planted in a few field beans because, well, I had them, let's be honest. That's the only reason. And the beans, being legumes, they're good for pulling down the nitrogen from the air and storing it in the roots. Now, well, they were put in on the, when were they put in? 4th of November. Going along here, we have got, there again, field beans, and underneath that, I tried white clover. But as you can see, very few, oh, that's more weed than anything else. There was a little bit of clover came up, but it was quite late, being the 31st of October. So basically, it's just field beans. The next one along, that was purely field beans. And as you can tell, I mean, they've grown ridiculously well. I've bent some of them back, broke them off just to make the pathway clear. And up the end, the star of the show, if you want to smother anything and prevent weeds growing, has to be the mustard. I mean, this stuff is nuts. It really grew well, covered the ground, kept the moisture in, and that was sown on the 20th of October. So that's all the green manures. And I'll just pull back a bit, and then we can swing around and just show you some of the other stuff I've got going on. In the bottom of this bed, more green manures. I just had mustard floating around, so I just chucked it in there. I've then made a secondary bench, so I've got 2 layers, and that's full of garlic in pots, onions at various stages. We got sets at various stages, all looking to go out now the weather's changing. And then the 3rd layer, we have got the, everybody should have one in their life, a hanging shelf to keep the mice off things. And up there are all the different sweet peas at different stages. We had overwintered ones, spring ones, just all sorts of sweet peas. And they love it up there. Do you want to walk around? Of course you do. All right, we got onions here. That's some Bedfordshire Champions and the red ones, Red Baron. Now, interestingly, that's the same thing, same onions. These are pricked out. These weren't. And as you can see, these are happily going along. And I think what I'll do is leave them go and then just plant them directly. We've got a few lettuce, some more onions there. That's some of my giant ones coming on nicely. They need repotting. And they're very sad looking. I'll tell you, yeah, brassicas aren't my thing. This is a beautiful purple sprouting broccoli. gone to flower. And behind that loveliness, we've got all the potatoes chitting away in their shade protection. We've got some alpine strawberries starting to flower. We've got, I don't know how well this has worked, we're going into the sun now. The onions were saving for seed. I think they probably need to go out. It's getting a little bit too hot in here, but yeah, I'll turn around, then the sun's not on the rise. And over here again, we've got more lettuce and cabbage and onions and lettuce and another giant onion tucked away there, and cabbage and parsley and, oh, surprise, yeah, some more onions. And lastly, down this side, we've got some carrots and boxes to grow more carrots in. Right, let's have a quick look around. Down here we just got various pots and bits and bobs, and oh, one thing, where should I put my phone case? Underneath here is that's where I've got my peas in these little individual pots, and I just got the cardboard over the top of them just to stop it drying out, and just various bits and pieces. And I have water in here as well. I like to keep water in here so it's up to temperature. All right, so that's a quick look around. Now we'll actually get on with the whole point of the video, doing away with all this green manure. And my weapons of choice for this is just a pair of shears, grass secateurs, and what we got here is what they call a bucket trowel. It's a trowel with a flat end, and what we're going to do with that is just diggity dig dig just below the soil to cut the roots of the rye, because we need to do that just below the soil level according to Nick the gardener. So we'll do as we're told. Right, let's get on with it. Right, and so to make this easier to deal with, I'm just going to cut all the tops off and then deal with the roots afterwards. Don't worry, I'll fast forward this. Like David Bellamy, when you're in the jungle, amazing things you'll find. I cannot believe how well this has grown, and hopefully done the soil structure good. Right, let's talk cutting. Right, well, to be honest, I won't make you endure me doing all of it, because I'm just going to do exactly the same to the rest of the beds. The only difference is this ryegrass, if you don't terminate it just below the surface, it'll just keep growing. All right, the roots will just keep going. So my cunning plan is using this bucket trowel. I don't know where to do it best so you can see. It's literally do that. So I'm just below the surface. Trying to leave as much, I say as much of the roots as possible. I don't know whether this is, do you reckon this is worth doing, really? In a bed where you're going to be growing tomatoes and feeding them? Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I just did it because I like seeing things grow. So I mean, you could probably take a lot more time doing this. But I think what I'll do is I'm gonna perhaps leave this like this, sort of leave it on the surface and see what happens. Should we do that? Yeah, so if you want to see what happens when Pete can't be asked to fuss ass about and cut it all off, and just hacks at it with a sharp trowel. Come back and see me. What I will do, I'll go and get, because I put some field beans in a pot just to see what they're like. So I'll go and get that in a minute, and you can see the roots of the field beans. Because I think the field beans, it's a lot easier to terminate, and probably does more good than the rye. All right, I'll go and get that in a minute. Right then, well, field beans. This is a lot easier, and the reason I put in field beans to start with is the roots. Now this is one I put in a pot, and as you can see, the roots go down a fair old way, and I mean, you see the size of this compared to that one, and all those roots will go down in the soil, help aerate it, and being a legume, help to fix the nitrogen. Just see if I can find a nitrogen fixing node. Yeah, here we go. Put that behind there, does that help? Right, so those little lumps are where they fix the nitrogen. Ready for your plants to take out the next lot of plants you put in. So that's why we're trying to leave the roots behind. And field beans, if you can imagine that, in the ground obviously, it's a lot easier. Just with your, just shear them off. So if you haven't got the patience to cut off ryegrass, and let's be honest, who would? Field beans, I reckon, is a lot easier to deal with. Right, we'll crack on through the beans, and we'll end up with the mustard at the end. We'll see how we get on with them. All right, beauty. Cracking on now. Right, so we're on to the last bed, and this is just the mustard. And so far, all I've learned is ryegrass sucks for terminating and leaving the roots in the ground. That was quite difficult. Field beans, fantastic. That works really well. And I got a feeling that mustard is going to be the same. In fact, I think with mustard, all we'll need to do is just cut it close to the surface and let it die off. This stuff has grown like triffids, especially over the last few weeks. It's very hard to stop yourself from just grabbing it and pulling it out by the roots. One thing I have noticed, it's held the moisture really well. Even, you know, close to the side, yeah, the top is a bit dry, but yeah, it's held the moisture really well. Right, I'll finish this and we have a little catch up. All right. Right, I was going to do a little sit down at the table and have a chat to you, but if I do that, the sun's in my eyes, so I'll just go go through it. Right, ryegrass sucks. Roots not that impressive. Field beans, fantastic. Fixed nitrogen, roots, 10 out of 10. Mustard smothers everything. Really good, easy to terminate. Roots like chicken's feet. If you've got, I would say if you've got heavy ground you're trying to break up and help, maybe the mustard's the way to go. But all in all, green manures do a great job. And in the tunnel, they've kept the weeds down over the winter. They've kept the moisture in over the winter, helped the soil structure and all that good stuff. So whether it's actually worthwhile doing in a bed, in a tunnel, possibly not. But at the same time, it can't hurt. And it was lovely to see things grow. And so there we go. That's the conclusion. All good. Well, thanks for watching. Cheers and gone.